with Sam Seder.
The destiny of America is always safer in the hands of the people than in the conference rooms of any elite.
Sam Seder.
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
It is Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025. My name is Emma Vigeland, in for Sam Seder, and this is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. It's the last live show of 2025, folks. And it's just myself and Matt today, having some fun. On the program today, a second batch of Epstein files have been released, then many deleted, related to Trump himself. More on that in just a minute. The DOJ is basically acting like Trump's personal law firm, adding a disclaimer to the press release, attempting to exonerate him in the public's eyes. Despite Barry Weiss's efforts to kill the story, the 60-minute CCOT segment was leaked online. Thanks to Canada. Whoopsie!
Had already been distributed.
Yes.
Like, maybe, what's your job?
Clown show operation here. Unbelievable. The Trump administration will start wage garnishment for people defaulting on their student loans starting in January. That's the right-wing populism that we've been hearing all about, right, Matt? Trump's DOJ sues the Washington, D.C. police over the district's AR-15 ban. You know, also because of the law and order that they care so much about. 21 state and district attorneys general file a lawsuit against Russ Vought for his dismantling of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. A judge extends an order prohibiting the Trump administration from reincarcerating Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who he says, I am okay being deported to Costa Rica, but these sadists want to deport him to Africa because he embarrassed them. Greta Thunberg is arrested in London for holding a sign supporting Palestine Action hunger strikers. Israel kills at least 10 more people in Gaza City. Its nearly 900th violation of the so-called ceasefire from October 10th. 50 Democrats call on Trump to, quote, exert maximum diplomatic pressure to stop Israel's repeated violations. And lastly, centrist Democrats get squeamish as Pramila Jayapal's renewed efforts to whip votes for Medicare for All pick up in the House. All this and more on today's Majority Report. As I mentioned, the last Majority Report of the year. We're doing a bit of a casual show today. It's just myself and Matt. Hello.
Skeleton crew.
Yeah, and we figured, well, we might reach out to a guest, or maybe we'll just kind of chat and wrap up the news of the year. There's also a lot of news because of this Epstein dump and the 60-minute story.
Are you still talking about that?
Yeah, and
It's been discussed for years.
isn't it? I do think it's interesting that even though they were supposed to release all of the files by this deadline and have violated the statute, they're seemingly, like, the files related to Trump, the fact that was released last night, this second batch, it being closer to Christmas, that's the kind of thing where, like, you dump bad news where people aren't paying attention as much. But
that's the theory, but I think
I agree. It's outdated.
It makes sense. Like,
everyone's
also,
on their phone. You think people are putting their phones away on Christmas? I mean, come
a lot
on.
of this happened over the 4th of July because I was home then too, but that just means you're home and you can talk about it with your family.
Yeah. I think, I mean, perhaps it's a media PR strategy, but I don't necessarily know if it meets the social media
Diminishing
age.
returns on that, yeah.
I would agree. And so some of these documents were available on the DOJ website, and then around 8 p.m., it appears that they were taken down. The Washington Post got the full set of files and has some, really, it has damning things in it about Donald Trump. Some of these documents contain very interesting information about Epstein's death, as well as Trump's many flights with Epstein. And the prosecutors discovered that there were more flights than previously known. But let's read their reporting here. 3 days after releasing a large tranche of Jeffrey Epstein documents that contained few mentions of President Donald Trump, the Justice Department disclosed thousands more files that included wide-ranging references to the president. The documents show that a subpoena was sent to Mar-a-Lago in 2021 for records that pertain to the government's case against Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's accomplice in sex trafficking. They include notes from an assistant U.S. attorney in New York about the number of times Trump flew on Epstein's plane, including one flight that included just Trump, Epstein, and a 20-year-old woman, according to the notes. So that means that in 2021, the Trump received a subpoena because we know that Virginia Giuffre, who sadly passed away, has said that that's basically where she was kidnapped, trafficked, was at Mar-a-Lago. So we don't know if that's what that's exactly pertaining to, but it could be. The newly released documents also include several tips that were collected by the FBI about Trump's involvement with Epstein and parties at their properties in the early 2000s. The documents do not show whether any follow-up information took place, or investigations took place, rather, or whether any of the tips were corroborated.
Well, that's a big eye looking at the FBI, and I'd like to see like our folks like Kana, who's been very good on this. What are we going to do about this FBI?
Exactly.
That sat on this and could have stepped in the 90s?
Yeah. I think we know some of the theories about why that's not the case, both protecting the wealthy and powerful, but also his incredibly likely association with both U.S. and Israeli intelligence agencies.
Better clean it up.
In a statement Tuesday morning, the Justice Department said some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that it characterized as unfounded and false. It's right there, next paragraph from where we were reading. That's all right. Statement Tuesday morning there. But that's amazing. That's the Department of Justice, as I mentioned, acting as Trump's law firm. Perhaps they edited this. They must have edited it. But that was exactly what the release said. Let's go to this part. Epstein, a wealthy financier and convicted sex offender, died in 2019 while in federal custody awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. His death was ruled a suicide. This part is, like, perhaps, in my view, the most incredible revelation. The files include correspondence among prison officials about Epstein's psychological assessments, with discussions about holding him in a special housing unit until about 2 weeks before he died. We have supporting memorandums from the responding officers who indicated they observed inmate Epstein with a makeshift noose around his neck, one of the emails stated. At one point, the documents indicate prison officials planned to house Epstein in a cell with Cesar Sayoc, a fanatical supporter of Trump's, who in 2019 was sentenced to 20 years in prison after he mailed explosive devices to prominent Democrats and media figures. Let's sit with that for a second.
Yeah, can we just meditate on that for a little bit? I mean, that's the ball game.
That's the ball game in my view. I mean, let alone what we know already, which is that the Wired's reporting on the metadata of the footage that was released that was supposedly of Epstein's cell, or was at least in like the vicinity of Epstein's cell, had multiple minutes taken out of it. They called it unedited footage, released it to the public. Wired did an analysis of it forensically and found that it actually really wasn't that hard to figure out, that they'd edited out multiple minutes in Adobe. And now we have the documents showing or indicating that prison officials wanted to house Epstein with a fanatical supporter of Donald Trump, who I'd imagine was quite involved in something like QAnon, where Jeffrey Epstein was a central figure, in the same cell as a guy that would be the most likely to take somebody out? But that might have been a little bit messy, right? Just to have a supporter do it.
Yeah, a little bit too on the nose. But let's just dwell on this Bureau of Prisons thing, because frankly, it looks to me like a den of thieves that needs to be raided. Because here is Todd Blanche on with Kristen Welker this weekend on Meet the Press, and this was just an interesting thing of me as somebody who likes to think we have a democracy and likes to have elected leaders in charge of like things like prisons, you know, caging of humanity. Here's what she was asked. This is a little exchange on this Bureau of Prisons that wanted to put Caesar Sayoc in with Epstein.
Couple more and we're almost out of time. I do want to ask you about Ghislaine Maxwell, who was, of course, convicted in 2021 for her role in helping Jeffrey Epstein traffic his victims. In July, you interviewed her in Florida, where she was serving a 20-year sentence in federal prison. Just a week later, Maxwell was moved to a more permissive prison camp in Texas. Why was she moved just days after you interviewed her, Mr. Blanche?
So that's a Bureau of Prison security issue that I will not talk about.
Did you have anything to do with it? Did you have anything to do with it?
Let me finish. First of all, I am responsible for the Bureau of Prisons. So every decision that they make lands on my desk to the extent it needs to. But just let me talk about the security issue. At the time...
So I'm not going to talk about it. You don't get to know.
You don't get to know, apparently. And
we're gonna put maybe a guy who is a fanatical, violent Trump supporter in with a guy that would help. It'd really benefit Trump if he died.
Completely.
Put him in the same cell. I mean, what are we doing here?
And the Wired story, I can't get over. It should be mentioned every time. It should be mentioned every time. It's quite clear for people that don't know, Trump was president when Epstein supposedly killed himself in his cell. That was, I think, one of the biggest revelations from this dump. Here's more. This is on the flight records with Trump. The new documents at times provide a window onto what federal prosecutors had been examining, as well as their awareness of ties that Epstein had with Trump. In January 2020, during Trump's first term, for example, an assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York wrote an internal email about a review of flight records the day before as part of the government's case against Maxwell, who was convicted in 2021 of sex trafficking. For your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously had been reported or that we were aware, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case, the email states. There were at least 8 flights, the prosecutor wrote, between 1993 and 1996 in which Trump was a passenger. On at least 4 of those flights, Maxwell was also present. In some cases, the prosecutor wrote, there were passengers who could be called as possible witness in a case against Maxwell. There you go. And so
I think I should pardon her.
Yeah, right. I wish her well. I wish her well.
I'm actually perfectly placed to know that everything on those planes was totally fine.
And here's another horrific file. This is an image of a letter that Jeffrey Epstein wrote to convicted sex offender Larry Nassar, who, for people that do not know, was a longtime doctor for the United States gymnastics team and at Michigan State. And he is serving a multi-decade sentence right now over child porn charges. Many women, girls, like hundreds, at least over 100, say that he sexually abused them. This is a letter, apparently, that Epstein wrote to Larry Nassar. The text is in the tweet, if you don't mind, because I just can't read this pedo's cursive. But it was returned to the prison because he wrote it, or it was sent out around the same time that Epstein died. 2 files released this morning. Evan Hill, The Washington Post, writes, by the DOJ show what appears to be a letter Epstein wrote to convicted sex offender Larry Nassar that was returned to sender after Epstein's death and found in the jail mailroom. The file shows the envelope front and the letter's contents. In the letter, Epstein writes, "Our president also shares our love of young, nubile girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab, snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. Life is unfair." Oh, gosh. My heart bleeds for you, serial predators. I mean, the fact that he found common cause and referred to Trump as our president, it's interesting that he said such a thing.
I mean, you look at Google Trump 2006, where there's like a video I saw of a young woman asking him a question, and he doesn't even listen to what she says. He invites her on stage, gives her a hug, and says, "You're hired."
Yeah.
And says, "That gets me into trouble. I'm like an alcoholic."
Here's another one from number 3 here. This is a transcript of an interview with a limousine driver, and he's speaking about an unnamed victim, it appears, or woman / girl, we don't know, but their name is redacted. Basically, this limousine driver says that they overheard Trump talking about Jeffrey while on the phone and made references to, quote, abusing some girl. The redacted name was unsure who he was talking to, nor who he was referencing, as Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump. Blank immediately, it's hard to say, Blank demeanor went stone cold. It seems like this is the limousine driver recounting their conversation with someone else. Demeanor went stone cold as Blank said, "He raped me." Someone else said, "What?" As Blank replied, "Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein." And then later, this person that they're referring to, the limousine driver, says that she was found with her head blown off. And there was no way it was a suicide, according to the opinion of this person. There's more, but let's go to Trump last night, who was having a press conference about the most important issue in America right now, which is that Trump has commissioned a bunch of new warships for the Navy that he calls a Golden Fleet, and they will be named Trump-class battleships. You can't afford groceries and Christmas presents right now, but at least we have this, and of course the ballroom, which I know is keeping our nation together right now. In this press conference, he's asked about the Epstein files, and he just has a lot of empathy for the people who are being implicated.
We actually threw him out. But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago, and they're, highly respected bankers and lawyers and others, and they'll end up, because of guys like Massey, who's a real lowlife, whose polls are down to about 9%, by the way, in the great state of Kentucky.
That is not true.
Normal thing to be talking about polling, even if that was true.
Right.
In the context of what you're implicated in, sir.
Yep.
Look at Kentucky. Kentucky is such a...
No, keep going, actually. There's more.
Great place, but I don't know. They've got a couple of people in there that are very strange in terms of leadership. But Massey's a loser, and he likes it, and that he works with the Democrats. He's just being used by the Democrats, because what this whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party has. Like, for instance, today we're building the biggest ships in the world, most powerful ships in the world, and they're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished. I believe they gave over 100,000 pages of documents, and there is tremendous backlash. It's an interesting question, because a lot of people are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was at a party, and you ruin a reputation of somebody. So a lot of people are very angry that this continues. A lot of Republicans are angry because of the fact that it's just used to deflect against a tremendous success. Look, we have 18.
I just think it's interesting when he talks about who's angry here. A lot of Republicans are angry. Well, not the base. You might be referring to the Republican lawmakers who, that very Thomas Massey referenced their donors recently and has basically said that that is who is being protected here. Political donors and wealthy, connected people who have associations with Jeffrey Epstein that don't want this to come out. And Trump is expressing sympathy, as he does, with the wealthy and the powerful, because that's literally all he's known since he came out of the womb with, a golden spoon in his mouth. And he is the oligarch identifier. That is who he is. He does not care about regular people. And it's the greatest fraud that he's perpetrated, that he has convinced certain people that he does.
Batya Unger Sargon acting like he's a working class tribune. He's like literally saying it's the powerful bankers and lawyers.
Highly respected people like bankers.
Think of the reputations of the bankers and the lawyers that just happened. They had nothing to do with him except they're in pictures with him at parties.
Also, and presidents like me. I just thought it was amazing that he expressed sympathy for Bill Clinton because they're in the same boat. Do you remember a few months ago when Hillary Clinton was praising Donald Trump? It might have been on Foreign Policy or something to that effect. And I remember thinking at the time, with this Epstein thing bubbling, I wonder if there are, she is making efforts despite,
little detente.
Right. I mean, God, the way that you see powerful people kowtow to Trump when they when they need something from him. I mean, the infamous one is Ted Cruz after Trump called his wife ugly and did a side-by-side post of her and Melania and said his dad killed JFK. Just a few months later, he was Mr. Cuckboy doing phone banking for Donald Trump. Yeah. To have that be full circle with the Clintons after everything he said about Hillary Clinton and how vicious that campaign was and felt at the time. Well, look at this. Now he's praising Bill Clinton, or at the very least saying he doesn't feel good about seeing these images out there because he sees himself in him. Like, he's genuinely empathizing for maybe the only time in his life.
They got caught for literally the same thing.
Because they're in the same boat of being elite associates of Jeffrey Epstein. Like, God, I really feel bad for him.
Yeah. It's like, we had nothing to do with him. Why does Jeffrey keep pictures of you all splashed all over his desk?
Yes. I mean, and that you resaw, I'm sure, in the release of the files, that blue dress painting that you talk about all the time. For people that don't know, Jeffrey Epstein had an image of Bill Clinton in the blue dress, the infamous one from the Monica Lewinsky scandal, which, by the way, Bill Clinton completely was a horrific. The Clintons were horrific to Lewinsky.
Bill Clinton was always a liability as regards to his libido.
And you can read some of what Ryan Grimm has reported, that it appears that Israeli intelligence knew about Lewinsky prior to it coming out. You wonder
who maybe told them. Was it maybe a close associate of Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein, who of course Bill Clinton would talk about? Do you think they would? Oh yeah, I'm not going to mention I'm screwing my intern to the guy that I hang out with and swim around underground
or
pools
mention it, or
redacted,
or we know that Israel spies on the United States.
But I'm saying that could have been the spy, Epstein himself.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. True.
And he's and also he's given up the game as regards to their little strategy with the get all the pictures out there of the celebrities from the 90s.
Yeah.
He's just acknowledging that you get all these people with innocence. So what he's saying is that my people decided to look for all these different pictures of people that happened to be there and put those up front. To make sure that people get that message, this is just people with Epstein things. No, there is evidence of a vast criminal network here.
100%. And your point always has been about that blue dress painting, that is an example of him kind of flexing on the leverage that he has over the president of the United States. Whew. Dark stuff here, folks.
Merry Christmas.
a word from some of our sponsors here. This new year, it's coming up, and I know a lot of people have some New Year's resolutions. You keep some, you don't keep others, but this is very easy to keep. HelloFresh makes it super easy to bring back the joy of the kitchen with recipes that feel good, taste delicious night after night. And that is actually one of my New Year's resolutions. Since I moved, I've just been not cooking as much. I'm getting so much takeout and all this stuff. Want to get back in the kitchen, and HelloFresh is gonna, like a woman should. And HelloFresh is gonna make it easy for me to do that. I love HelloFresh. It makes it super easy. You have the meals ready to go, and the portions are set up. You bring people together with meals that are simple and rewarding on a busy weeknight, and that's really when I have been relying on HelloFresh in the past, because it's, especially I live just with my husband, and when it's perfect for quick meals for two. You can choose from 35 high protein, or for two, I should say, 35 plus high protein weekly recipes, including new Mediterranean and GLP-1 friendly options made with wholesome ingredients like sustainably sourced seafood and 100% antibiotic and hormone free chicken. You got steak and seafood plus 3 times more seafood options at no extra cost. Feast on seasonal produce from stone fruit to corn on the cob. HelloFresh has over 100 mouth-watering recipes each week, from seasonal favorites to global dishes like, it was like a chicken. I should probably know the name of it. It's not chicken marsala, whatever, but it was very good. It's my go-to. They also have like this pasta dish that I know Sam has said that Saul really loves, and we really love in our household too. You're gonna love it. We want to thank HelloFresh for sponsoring the Majority Report, because when dinner tastes this good, nothing hits like home cooking. Go to HelloFresh.com/majority10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free Zwilling knife, a nearly $144.99 value. In your third box, offer valid while supplies last. Free meals applied as a discount on your first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. Go to HelloFresh.com/majority10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free Zwilling knife and $144.99 value on your third box. Offer valid while supplies last. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. We will put a link down below in the YouTube and episode descriptions. And lastly, GiveWell. We've been talking about this all the time. The cuts to foreign aid that have made headlines this year. You know the horror stories and what this administration has done. There's also real concerns about people's well-being in some of the world's poorest communities. It can be really hard to know what's actually happening or how you can help. GiveWell doesn't claim to have all the answers, but its team of researchers are analyzing the impact of foreign aid funding cuts in real time, identifying highly cost-effective ways to save and improve lives, and sharing what they're learning for free so everyone can have a big impact. GiveWell has spent 18 years researching global health and poverty alleviation, and only directs funding to the highest impact opportunities that they have found. Over 150,000 donors have already trusted GiveWell to direct more than $2.5 billion. Rigorous evidence suggests that these donations will save over 300,000 lives and improve the lives of millions more. You can find all of their research and recommendations on their site for free. And thanks to donors who choose to sponsor their research, GiveWell doesn't take a cut from your tax-deductible donation to their recommended funds. This is a great gift last minute if you need to give to somebody in your life who is socially conscious, who wants to make a difference around the world. And here's an example of how GiveWell works. One of GiveWell's recommended charities, preventative medication for malaria, it costs around $7 to provide a child with malaria treatment through the high malaria season. These treatments can reduce the number of malaria infections, and with enough treatments, also save a life. I actually got a gift from GiveWell for Christmas last year from my cousin, and it was I teared up a little bit because it was really, really thoughtful and exactly the kind of thing I was thinking about after the election, and one of my most touching gifts from my dear cousin. So I can speak to it being something that, like, say you have a family member that thinks about these kind of things, or a friend. GiveWell could touch their heart too. To make a taxable tax-deductible donation today, go to givewell.org and pick podcast and enter The Majority Report with Sam Seder, no spaces, at checkout. That's The Majority Report with Sam Seder at checkout. Make sure they know that you heard about GiveWell from The Majority Report with Sam Seder, no spaces. Again, that's givewell.org to donate or find out more. Link down below in the YouTube and episode descriptions. You can make a tax-deductible donation today. If you go to givewell.org and pick podcast and enter, this is all lowercase too, The Majority Report with Sam Seder at checkout, no spaces. All right, we are back. The other big story here that we've been following is this. We'll do the 60 Minutes one first, I think. So the Barry Weiss cover-up of the 60 Minutes report that detailed the torturous treatment of detainees that were deported from the United States to CCOT in El Salvador. The cover-up's not going that great. It ended up leaking because the Canadian affiliate had already been sent the full segment. This is how close this segment was to airing. And let's actually back up to Friday here, because Trump did this speech in. Do we have that? Yes, Trump did this speech in North Carolina, and this was supposed to be about the economy. We'll play another clip later of him completely going off track, as he tends to do. But this is the timing of how this went down. So on Friday at this rally, Trump called out CBS and criticized them. We should note that CBS desperately, or the parent company, Paramount Skydance, which was the merger was approved by the Trump administration. They are trying to buy Warner Brothers, and they will do anything to achieve that, including trampling all over the long history of CBS News as a trusted outlet of reporting. I mean, at least within the context of the mainstream press, destroying
right?
it.
I mean, we talked about with that movie, The Insider, that Sam just can't remember that Al Pacino's in and needs to mention Russell Crowe. But like that's exact. People should watch that movie. It's the exact thing about the exact same media property in 60 Minutes, and about how large, powerful interests conspire to kill stories.
They're just doing it so brazenly here. Yep. It's really obvious, and it's also not necessarily like clear in terms of the propaganda value that it's even actually creating. Like,
yeah, the cigarette guys are like, you guys are being a little bit obvious about this.
The views of that Erica Kirk town hall were not what they anticipated. They're doing like these debates between Barry Weiss is hosting the town hall of that guy that
Jubilees.
Was on, basically Jubilees, but way more boring on CBS, and all of these kind of niche center right, usually Zionist figures that have no real Steven Pinker.
By the way,
isn't she doing that over the weekend? Isn't that in the cards? Steven Pinker, who was just in the Epstein files, as a part of whatever panel she's doing. Nobody wants this, but it's useful for them to have this property at the very least. Like, I mean, to catch and kill things.
Yeah.
But
to lie.
Yeah. Overall, right now, the North Star for this corporation is getting this merger approved. So when Trump says something like this at the rally, they listen and then tell Barry Weiss to listen.
State, they don't scream, but NBC's really bad. And CBS, I mean, I love the new owners of CBS. Something happens to them, though. 60 Minutes has treated me worse under the new ownership than... They just keep treating me. They just keep hitting me. It's crazy. And then you have Marjorie...
And then we have Marjorie Taylor Brown.
Just whining.
And that's when he says they're treating me worse than the previous one. He knows that's not true.
Something happens to them though. I like them, but what's going on beneath them?
He's trying to get them to do what he wants if they want this merger approved. And Kushner had joined the rival bid at one point and then left. And so the lane is sort of clear right now for this massive corporate media consolidation. And as a reminder, the correspondent, Sharon Alfonsi, on this piece had written to the staff, and that was leaked to the Times. We read that yesterday, basically saying that this was not an editorial decision. This was a political decision. And so that's what that means. That's when you can read between the lines there. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's a big fib that it's anything other than a political decision. And like you can get a more clear answer from Katie Miller about what's going on, which is they're being mean to Trump than you can from Barry Weiss, who's just a liar. And every journalist who doesn't know that we see you going along with it or even suspending judgment for a second on what's going on here is guilty of one of the most heinous of collaborating with one of the most heinous assaults on the Americans' ability to understand reality that I've seen in the probably since the Iraq War, maybe.
Yeah. And let's just bring up 5 before we play a little of the audio of this. But Barry Weiss, then she did this without, kind of unilaterally, without speaking to them first. That was part of what the correspondent was saying to the rest of the staff. But this is how she addressed them on Sunday when this was officially pulled. Hi all, I'm writing with specific guidance on what I'd like for us to do in advance of the CCOT story. I know you'd all like to see this run as soon as possible. I feel the same way.
No.
But if we run the piece as is, we'd be doing our viewers a disservice. These are her bullet points. Last month, many outlets, most notably the New York Times, exposed the horrific conditions at CCOT. Our story presents more of these powerful testimonies, blah, blah, blah. But if we're going to run another story about a topic that has by now been much covered, we need to advance it. Among the ways to do so, does anyone in the administration or anyone prominent who defended the use of the Alien Enemies Act now regard it in light of what these Venezuelans endured at CCOT? That's a question I'd like to see asked and answered. Okay, so let's address this off the rip. You'll hear it in, or we won't play this part, but at the end of this segment, they say that the Department of Homeland Security declined their request for an interview, and they referred all of the questions about CCOT to the El Salvador government. So this is a tactic that they're using that Barry Weiss is being intentionally obtuse about. If they don't comment on the story, you can't run it. No, this is like every journalistic practice that I've been aware of in my time in this industry is that depending on the urgency of the story, you request for comment and you give them some sort of length or deadline to reply by. And if they don't reply by that, the story will include they did not reply for our request for comment.
And guess
Everybody's
what?
read an article that says that.
That is a message in and of itself.
Exactly. You give people an opportunity to comment, and then if they don't, you run the story anyway. That's how every article, every journalistic piece has been basically, conducted, at least in terms of like the best practices on that front. And she's claiming that there's nothing new in this piece. That's also not true. They interview new individuals, firsthand accounts of what they experienced in CCOT in the 60 Minutes piece. And Barry Weiss wouldn't want to be redundant, right? Scroll to the dozens and dozens of clips and segments and retreads about the freaking Erica Kirk interview. Yep. Okay. Her second bullet point. At present, we do not present the administration's argument for why it sent 252 Venezuelans to CCOT. What we have is Caroline Levitt's soundbite claiming that they are evildoers in America, rapists, murderers, etc., but there isn't much more to ask in light of the torture that we are revealing. Tom Homan and Stephen Miller don't tend to be shy. I realize we emailed the DHS box, but we need to push much harder to get these principles on the record. Why?
Yeah, exactly. This is, it's crazy how thin this is. This is just bullshit. Like, no, if they don't, we're going to respond. You're not a small little like outlet. You are 60 Minutes. Like maybe the #1 name in television news of like the past few decades. If they know who you are, They know what a request for a comment from 60 Minutes is.
Yep. Yeah. She says basically the data is incomplete. They said that we say that only 8 of this 252 have been sentenced in America for violent offenses. But what about charged? Who cares? Secretary Noem's trip to CCOT, we report blah, 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 with no comment from her and her staff about what her goal on that trip was or what she saw there, or if she has concerns about the treatment of detainees. So all of this is working backward. Like, we are not humanizing, or we are not presenting the perspective of Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller accurately, and the administration, and they won't respond to us from some reason. But let's find their side of the story their side of the story as they turn their back to us. And then this part is really egregious. We need to do a better job of explaining the legal rationale by which the administration detained and deported these 252 Venezuelans to CCOT. It's not as simple as Trump invoking the Alien Enemies Act and being able to deport them immediately. And that isn't the administration's argument. The admin has argued in court that detainees are due judicial review, and we should explain this with a voice arguing that Trump is exceeding his authority under the relevant statute, and another argument that he's operating within the bounds of his authority. There's a genuine debate here. If we cut down Kristi Noem analysis, we'd have the time. Now, there's actually no genuine debate here. As Aaron Melnick of the American Immigration Council points out, this is complete nonsense. The Supreme Court already held 9-0. 9-0. Yes, we're including Clarence Thomas. Yes, we're including Brett Kavanaugh. 9-0. That the process used to send people to CCOT violated due process. There wasn't even a single dissent. Weiss is making up a debate that has already been settled. And is that not a metaphor for Barry Weiss's entire career?
Exactly. It's her job.
Making up, creating the notion of debate, or both fetishizing it, and then also having the debates be between, I don't know, like the very, very narrow specific lines to pretend that that is the breadth of debate. She is meant to manufacture consent around a very, very small set of center-right ideas and imperialist Zionistic ideas that are becoming out of fashion. So like she is meant to be a bulwark, and she's a defensive hire. As the reality of the world comes crashing down and is influencing coverage, she is there to provide alternative facts and alternative debate.
It's not a coincidence that somebody who vociferously supports Israel and turns a blind eye to the massive caging of humanity in that part of the world would want to hear from both sides more thoroughly about what's going on in El Salvador. This is just what that ideology is. And it's no surprise that billionaires would want to use people like that to help control everybody and keep them all in line. And also to keep these industries. Again, massive caging of humanity. We're talking, and without due process. Oh, well, let's get into the finer point of what even that means, I guess. Maybe Barry Weiss maybe we should hear from J.D. Vance. Because he had this theory that there's just too much to do due diligence. We never deport people fast enough. So maybe we should give that thought and airing too. Maybe the settlers should just take the West Bank, and maybe Gaza should just be Israel now. Let's hear all sides of this stuff.
And to your point on the fact that of course she doesn't have a problem with this, Zateo had a little item this morning pointing out that the Free Press earlier this year in April had an article. The hottest campaign stop in the Salvador is this Salvadoran supermax. That's how they refer to CCOT. Weiss separately gushed about the popularity of El Salvador's president, Bukele, who describes himself as the world's coolest dictator, about how safe he's made the Central American nation.
Yeah, and just so people don't get it clear, it has nothing to do with religion. When we say Zionists do this, it's because they are fascist nationalists. Mm-hmm. That's why they have no problem with Bukele. That's why they have no problem with all this stuff.
And Here's a good tweet from Adam Johnson. Here, you go. And oh wait, here it is. Sorry, but this completely misreads Weiss's role. So somebody said Barry Weiss is so incompetent at leading CBS News that her efforts at fully suppressing the 60 Minutes segment on CCOT was foiled because she wasn't aware or forgot that the broadcast package, including that segment, was distributed via a streaming app for broadcast in Canada. Johnson says, sorry, but this completely misreads Weiss's role. Her longtime role is helping the Ellisons build a far-right pro-Israel media conglomerate. Her short-term role is stopping the Netflix WBD merger so the Ellisons can own CNN, HBO, etc. And to do this, she needs to flatter Trump, and she did. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So it doesn't matter, like, journalists, you cry all you want. She's performing for the big boys that brought her to the dance. Like, she's not here because journalists respect her. She's here because a billionaire wants her there. And like, I see all these people, suspending disbelief, these centrist types. That's because they're corrupt. If you see anybody suspending disbelief on this for a second, they're not stupid. They know where the money is and they want it.
And remember the Trump administration talking about how public money corrupts things like PBS and NPR? Please, when they got public funding of our journalistic, the threadbare funding that we provide to very select outlets,
NPR.
You are like saying we want more Barry Weisses. We want somebody and Ellisons to find more Barry Weisses, Stooges, or toadies, which I remember she didn't know what that word was when Joe Rogan interviewed her. A pretty embarrassing moment for her. Not the brightest bulb, despite the glasses. I know she wants people to be fooled by that.
That's not what she's there for.
She's not there for. Her role in media is as a hatchet man for billionaires.
Blunt instrument.
She has been that since her days in college when she was trying to get Palestinian professors fired as a sophomore. Like other right-wing personalities like Charlie Kirk, who got their start as really young people, and a billionaire took notice and said, I like this reactionary right-wing kid.
Oh, yeah, all my motivated reasoning in a person.
Barry Weiss is the NPR voice version of Charlie Kirk, a supposed talent that was well-funded and cultivated by wealthy interests in order to try to poison the well of, like, healthy debate at universities across the country about specific issues. For Weiss, it was Israel and Palestine early on in her career. For Charlie Kirk, it's things like Christian nationalism, promoting that, cancel culture, and more.
We have all this discussion about anti-Semitism and Nick Fuentes, and it's horrible that we have neo-Nazis and Holocaust deniers, having dinner with Trump and stuff like that. Zionists like Barry Weiss are also genocide deniers. The genocide is just more recent.
Yep. But we can't play the video of this. I just wanted to play an excerpt of this 60 Minutes piece that didn't end up airing in the United States, but did air in Canada. We'll play just the audio because they are quite litigious about playing their copyrighted material, even though this is as newsworthy as anything, and this should not be allowed legally for this to happen. But we'll play some of this report for you regardless.
Deportations. I have some tattoos. None of them have anything to do with any criminal group. I explained to them, saying that I didn't belong to any gang, to which the agent responded, but you are Venezuelan.
60 Minutes reviewed this document agents used to assess Venezuelans. A person with 8 points was designated as a Tren de Aragua gang member and deportable. Tattoos that immigration officers suspected of being gang-related earned 4 points. But criminologists who study gangs say tattoos are not a reliable way to identify Venezuelan gang members because, unlike some Central American gangs such as MS-13, Tren de Aragua does not use tattoos to signal membership. Venezuelan national William Lozada Sanchez was also deported to CCOT. He told us the guards there also accuse Venezuelans with tattoos of being gang members. He detailed months of abuse and being forced into stress positions.
So you had to be on your knees for 24 hours?
Yes, because they put a guard there to watch us so that we wouldn't move.
And what would happen if you couldn't make it?
They'd take us to the island.
What's the island?
The island is a little room where there's no light, no ventilation, nothing. It's a cell for punishment where you can't see your hand in front of your face. After they locked us in, they came to beat us every half hour, and they pounded on the door with their sticks to traumatize us while we were in there.
The torture was never ending. They would take you there and beat you for hours and leave you locked in there for days.
Some of the deportees described being sexually assaulted by the guards.
They were hitting your private parts? With a baton?
No, they tugged at them with their hands.
And they did that to multiple people?
To most of us.
The men say they grew weaker by the day. They claim the prison lights were left on 24 hours a day, making it difficult to sleep, and that food and medicine were often withheld.
Did you have access to clean water?
They never gave us access to clean water. The same water from our baths and toilets was the same water that we had to drink and survive on. If we had serious injuries, when the doctors examined us, they told us that drinking water would heal it.
So they're telling the injured prisoners to drink water, and the water's filthy.
Super filthy. The sicker and more injured we were, the better it was for them.
There you go.
Fascism. I mean, there's no reason that we have any relationship with this torture camp other than to keep it out of sight. And Barry Weiss is a collaborator in that fascist project to keep this brutality and torture out of sight.
The idea that there was nothing new there. I had heard about the sexual assaults. I had heard about forced oral on the guards. Oral assault. And not the tugging on their genitals, which sounds incredibly painful. So, I mean...
These are bad people. Barry Weiss is a bad person.
Yeah, to put it mildly.
They are malevolent and malicious and working against a better world.
Mm-hmm. But 150 mil for that role as the hatchet man for billionaires, and not as a journalist, coming from the opinion pages at the outset of her career. Can't wait for more leaks, though. There is no one in that newsroom that respects that.
I mean, it's
woman.
Look, there's sometimes ships go down. There's plenty of time for the rats to flee. Folks got to get, like, people should be leaving it like it's the last day of school in the spring.
Yeah. Yep. Let's now turn to the economy. I mentioned that Trump did a speech on Friday about the economy because his advisors are very upset that he keeps calling affordability a Democratic hoax. There was an interview in the wake of the 2025 elections, which we obviously saw Zohran Mamdani win, but sweeps for Democrats across the country. I mean, I'm hard pressed to think of maybe like 2010, the Tea Party, but off-year elections like this being this partisan, because turnout is usually so low that you don't see trends like this, but it was just Democratic win or across the country, basically, in November. And so after that, Politico interviewed Trump's 2024 campaign director, and he was saying, we need to talk about affordability right now. We need to reclaim it. And Republicans are quite good at taking left-wing rhetoric, or liberal rhetoric usually, actually, I should say.
Release the Epstein files.
Right, and co-opting it. They will speak about it on their terms in ways that the Democrats are incapable of doing, and change the definition of it because they have, one, no commitment to the truth, but also a fascistic message discipline that flows from Trump himself, and they just repeat what he says at this point. So that my concern at the time was we have to stop, and I still maintain this concern. It's just for different reasons. That just talking about affordability is too vague. The Democrats have to, and actually Bernie Sanders called me naive in our interview hilariously, which I loved, for saying, oh, it's a step in the right direction, but we need to be talking about oligarchy and income inequality. And that's how the Democrats can actually differentiate themselves on this issue. You can say, we're going to tax the hell out of billionaires to make your life better. The Republicans can't do that. They are incapable of doing that. And the answer is right in front of them. But what's helping the Democrats, who still have not coalesced behind that, because as we know, leadership is not where it should be, is the fact that Trump doesn't want to talk about it at all. And he's maybe incapable of doing so. He's
unfamiliar with what it means.
Because it's, one, but he's unfamiliar, but two, he is really uncomfortable being on the defensive in this manner. He can't rail against the Biden economy when he's the president and when the economy's getting worse than it was under Biden. So he can't stay on message. And this is what he wandered into. His mind wandered into during his speech on the economy on Friday. I mean, you're not going to believe what he says here.
I had these animals trying to attack me at Mar-a-Lago. They went into my wife's closet. And I'll say this, number one, it's very bad, but it sounds a little strange. They looked at her drawers. You have drawer, and then you have drawer. They looked at both. And she's a very meticulous person, you know, like these people, it's just like she'd fit into your group very well. She'd be very happy with her, but everything is perfect. Her undergarments.
Wait, what the fuck? I'm sorry. It's just she'd brunch with you ladies. Like, I wish
apparently a group of women in the front row that Trump
Melania would love to hang out with.
She would love you guys.
You know, she just looks like a real girl's girl, Melania.
Dress, you have drawers, and you got drawers.
You got drawers, and then you got drawers.
Very meticulous person, you know, like these people, it's just like she'd fit into your group very well. She'd be very happy with her, but everything is perfect. Her undergarments, someone is sometimes referred to as panties.
Oh,
are folded.
That's a drop.
Perfect, wrapped. They're like so perfect. I said, that's beautiful. You know, it's the part of the world she came from. Everything was perfect, no problem. Fold, fold, fold. I think that she steams them, make sure. Just that it. We came home. I
like the guy here. Yeah. Look at the way he looks. He's like, he kind of.
He's looking at his phone.
Kind of like and all the bros here, and then the woman here like put her hand in her head in her hand a few times.
Okay.
Fold, fold. I think that she steams them, make sure. Just that it. We came home.
So embarrassing.
I wasn't there when the raid took place. A raid of a popular president, a former president.
No.
She opened the drawers and it was not that way. They were a mess. It was all over the place.
So that's him talking about the 2022 raid on Mar-a-Lago, which, because Trump had stolen a bunch of classified documents and refused to return them despite the FBI asking nicely many, many times, and eventually they had to go and just take them, saying that the FBI looked at his wife's panties and
folded them up really nice?
No, he's talking about how he got sidetracked.
She folds them really
No,
nice.
I don't think he means Melania. I think he said she gets them dry cleaned. Which is why I wanted to play this clip, which is that he's trying to talk about the economy and how people are struggling and that he's going to make it better. Here's how rich we are. My wife gets her thongs dry cleaned, steamed, and pressed.
Oh, so the part of the world they're from reference, that's to the cleaning staff, not Melania.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. But again, Dementia Dawn is a little bit hard to figure out right now. So I don't know if that. Do you relate to that? Getting your clothes folded for you and your underwear steamed. When I think about getting a nice sweater, and I have probably like 2 or 3 nice sweaters, which I truly cherish. I just am like, damn, like I'm gonna have to work in the dry cleaning parts of the budget and like make sure I do the delicates in the wash, but sometimes that doesn't work that well. Like it's almost like a tax on like a nice like a luxury item that you have.
Oh, it definitely stops me from buying. There's a certain type of sweatpants I get, but like you need to really be careful with washing them.
Right.
And I don't have a washer and dryer. I have the stuff in the machines. Like I'm not dealing with that.
Right. The concept of getting your underwear pressed and steamed is so 0.001% that I can't even begin to describe it. But I guess the people in North Carolina can relate to that. Melania with her steamed and pressed underwear would fit really well into that group of women.
She would love you guys. She'd fit you well.
She would love you guys. She would be perfect to fold her panties.
I'm so curious who he was referring to.
I wish they cut to the crowd. But don't worry, this administration is not out of touch, okay? Here is Peter Navarro. Remember him? He was the
what was his name?
COVID czar that I think helped Trump come up with the idea of encouraging people to inject bleach to kill COVID.
Ron Vera.
Yes. Also the person who used an anagram of his last name as a reference, a scientific reference in his papers. Fake person. Anyway, he's the White House senior counselor for trade and manufacturing. And he went on CNBC today to talk about how the economy is actually doing really well and we should embrace tariffs because it's going to create blue collar jobs.
And in an age of AI, where all the white collar jobs are going away pretty damn quick, I think maybe it's a good time for people to think about having good blue collar jobs. I mean, that used to be how America prospered. The middle class, the blue collar middle class, because they had good wages at the time back in the days when Detroit was king. Yep. That was a beautiful age. It can come back again in a new package with all this good technology and productivity. So
we're going to know a lot, Peter, and by the end of next year, and it's coming, we're going to know a lot about how this. It wouldn't be the first time that the consensus or the the conventional wisdom.
Give tariffs a chance, because they're working.
Give peace a chance. Give tariffs a chance. We have, bro.
I would give peace a chance. Just try it.
I love the conservative CNBC host being like, it wouldn't be the worst time that things turned around despite every economic indicator showing that things aren't going well.
This is just historically illiterate. America, when he's talking about like the wonder years of American manufacturing, those weren't like call those middle class people. Those were immigrants.
Also,
largely new immigrants to America, like Henry Ford. He was pretty patriarchal about it. Like basically said that you got to learn English and stuff like that. But it wasn't middle class people finding a good job. The reason that manufacturing boost was so great is because it led to middle class sort of comfort. But it was not for the middle class people. They didn't exist.
Well, why were their wages good? Well, why did the jobs go overseas? Because the wages were good. Because of unions.
Profit motive.
That is what these free trade deals were meant to undercut. The labor movement in the United States. They were successful in many ways, and they got cheaper labor in different countries. That is why the wages were higher. Not because it was of this protectionism. Yes, tariffs have a place to incentivize certain kinds of growth in manufacturing if you do it in a targeted way. Yeah. They're doing it in a nationalist way that uses...
Saying it's about fentanyl.
Right. Ron Vera's calculations that talk about trade deficits where, we're talking about, penguins in Antarctica having a trade deficit with the United States and slapping tariffs on them. It makes no sense to talk about global corporations after globalization in the terms of nationalism. It's nonsense.
While you're getting washed by China the entire year because of it, the people you really need to deal with, because and look, part of it, China's not just cheating, they're putting state capacity towards manufacturing. That was a smart bet for them to do. We've decided to put all of our eggs into financiers and tech people, and I would say I'm not feeling so great. We got Bitcoin and betting apps, and they got trains. So the failure's already happened. I hate to break it to people, but America is not going to be the world economic power in 50 years. No. China is. These people have already lost it. And right now what they're doing is compensating themselves for having lost it and making sure, like, by the time everyone catches up and realizes how deeply we've been sold down the river, they have enough money to, like, jet off to Monaco or something. But, like, we should definitely be, and if we were going to go at China, it wouldn't be also while we're going at Mexico and Canada and every one of our other allies. Like, to do a kind of rebalancing like this, you need to, one, have it be directed for the workers, not for the profit of the companies that you're talking about, which is what all this stuff is actually for. You're talking about AI. And how about you start with the blue collar work, Ron Vera? Like, let's see you get in the factory and, make some widgets.
He's also, the premise is a lie too. I want to this is from 2 months ago. Manufacturing Dive asked this question. It's a trade publication. Manufacturing jobs keep going down. Is AI responsible? Now, the Trump administration will lie and say that manufacturing jobs are up. We have lost manufacturing jobs throughout this year. They'll also talk about how now native-born workers, their employment rate is increasing. They've dug into those numbers. It's decreasing. It's decreasing just across the board. The people that are getting hurt disproportionately right now are young workers trying to enter into this horrific economy. And yeah, so that maybe those are some of, like, the more professional class people coming out of college that will be impacted by AI, and they are being impacted by AI. But the manufacturing sector is also being impacted by AI. Transportation and warehousing and factory automation are going to be devastating for blue-collar jobs. Here's what this article has to say. The U.S. manufacturing industry lost 78,000 jobs over the past year, with 12,000 cuts in August alone, according to the latest federal data. Again, this is from October, so it's probably worse than this now. This comes as automation is ramping up in factories, but it's far from the only factor. While the September employment data isn't available yet due to the government shutdown, the August 2025 labor turnover survey shows a 12% dip in job openings compared to last year, with 313,000 job separations in manufacturing. Experts say this isn't new. Manufacturing jobs have been declining since February 2023, now reaching the lowest level since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. What happened to all the tariffs bringing about these manufacturing jobs? Well, and just scroll to the next. AI and automation will be the header. You'll see it right there. There it is. Manufacturing companies have been facing a labor shortage for years. Nearly 2 million jobs, half of all new positions created, could be unfilled by the end of the decade, according to data from Deloitte and the Manufacturing Institute. Many companies have turned to artificial intelligence and automation to bridge the gap, with some countries like China and Japan running fully automated factories. Some plants in the U.S., like Tesla's gigafactories, are also implementing similar models. I should say that the China automation stuff is as a supplement to work, as opposed to the replacement. That is really what American capitalists are interested in, is AI being a replacement for labor, which is a high expense for them. Sectors with high volume production and repetitive tasks, such as automotive, semiconductors, electronics, aerospace, and pharmaceuticals, are experiencing the highest adoption of AI and automation. Experts say other divisions will follow suit as implementing this technology becomes more accessible and financially viable. But I don't want to stop there with this analysis here, just because that's not the only thing that's resulting in, and go to the tariffs part, in these job losses. Because it's also the tariff policies. Because it wasn't paired with a domestic manufacturing bill that would have set up companies with the infrastructure to build out the capacity that we just don't have right now before just slapping tariffs on it. We would need years and years to build up the domestic capacity to manufacture the goods that we can't manufacture here before then you put tariffs on things to make it more expensive for foreign goods to be purchased versus the ones that are manufactured here. But you can't do that if we can't manufacture them here yet.
Yeah, AI automation is just an acceleration of a process that's been constant. And it is going a little bit faster, but it's also being used, like we're talking about, as a scapegoat to obscure other policy decisions.
Right. The uncertainty around tariff policies has put some manufacturers in a wait-and-see mode, leading to stalled projects and hiring freezes, industry experts said. Exporters can't foresee demand. Importers are uncertain about the price and how much the tariffs consumers and foreign suppliers will bear, and manufacturers who use imported material, tools, or components are dealing with large swings in their costs. This is what this experts say. We talked about this too. The volatility of it, with Trump taking them on and off. You can't plan. People can't model their finances for their businesses, and so they're just going to go elsewhere. And then secondly, this is key. President Donald Trump's administration has implemented several changes to tighten immigration policies, making it harder for new foreign workers to enter and for those already here to stay. Some of these changes include a $100,000 fee for new H-1B visas, increased scrutiny of visa applicants' social media activity, plans to end birthright citizenship, limiting access to health insurance benefits, and additional funding for detention and deportation. Meaning, these ICE activities, the enforcement, the scapegoating of immigrants, it's really devastating our agricultural sector. It's devastating every sector. Because the reality is that this country in many ways relies on undocumented immigrants as a subclass of laborer, as the underbelly of this economy that's already collapsing. It shouldn't be that way. We should be giving these people a path to citizenship so it avoids that. But our system is set up so that doesn't happen, because wage theft can happen if you're undocumented. They don't have to improve your working conditions. They can stiff you for wage theft. They can assault you and you can't complain, and they'll threaten to deport you. It benefits your boss. That's why we have these policies. That is the through line with all of this for Trump.
And even the $100,000 fee for H-1B visas thing, that just makes it so the most capitalized industries can afford to do it, like tech. Mm-hmm. And where actually, we have a shortage of medical professionals in XY rural hospital. What are they going to pay $100,000 now to bring in like a lab tech or whatever? Yep. Like, the truth is that this has all been a false analysis, that we should not be looking at fucking immigrants for why everyone's stuck in the mud economically. Instead, we should look at the people with all of the money who are buying the politicians, who are actually paying for undocumented kids to be in factories, right? But we never hear about that. We're rating the families. We're not rating the CEOs who were like doing that at 5 a.m, have kids cleaning up, putting their tiny little fingers to clear out parts in meat processing plants. And we're not doing it now either. Right. Now is just making it more harsh, and it's going to tank the economy. That's the reality.
All right, folks. With that, we'll wrap up this part of the show. But I have an idea for you, Matt. You want to do another Freebie Tuesday, but we still play the Funhouse song, so I can take a quick break?
Yeah, it sounds good.
But Matt, tell us, though, what's happening on your end of things.
Right after the show today, a Majority Report is going to be Left Reckoning's Bumps Tier Awards of the Year. We nominate 3 different nominees, and the Left Reckoning patrons are going to be able to vote between Fuentes, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Robert F. Kennedy.
Awesome. As a reminder, folks, this show relies on your support. Go to jointhemajorityreport.com. You can IM the show. Just helps us out, keeps us independent, keeps us doing this every weekday live, except for the rest of the year. But we will be back at the beginning of January, and really appreciate you all, truly. This has been a very, I think, important year in politics and an important year for us as a show. We've grown quite a bit. We're, the cable news is calling Sam and I, wanting our opinions on things. And that we couldn't, be growing in this way without your support. You watching the show, you being members, like truly, truly appreciate it. Sometimes I feel like I can forget that we're doing this show and people are literally watching on the other side. Like I'll get a text from a friend or something like, "Hey, like nice shirt today," or something. I'm like, "Oh Jesus, people actually watch this. This isn't just us chatting in the office." So you can forget that there is a human being watching this on the other side of the screen, and I love and appreciate you all, and hope we're making a difference. I really hope so. So with that schmaltzy message, we'll play the fun half song, but we will keep this in the free half, and we'll see you on the other side. Hopefully we'll take some calls too as well.
3 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now. And I don't think it's going to be the same as it looks like in 6 months from now. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to be better 6 months from now than it is 3 months from now. But I think around 18 months out, we're going to look back and go like, wow. What is that going on? It's nuts. Wait a second. Hold on for a second.
The Majority Report.
Emma, welcome to the program.
Hey.
Matt.
What is up, everyone?
Nomi Key.
You did it. Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Bradley, you want to say hello?
Sorry to disappoint everyone. I'm just a random guy.
It's all the boys today.
Fundamentally false.
No, I'm sorry. Women's...
Stop talking for a second and let me finish.
Where is this coming from, dude?
But dude, you want to smoke this 7-8?
Yes.
Hi, me? This me?
Yes.
Is this me?
Is it me?
It is you.
Is this me? Hello, is this me?
I think it is you. Who is you? No sound. Every single freaking day. What's on your mind?
Sports. We can discuss free markets and we can discuss capitalism.
I'm gonna go Starlight.
Libertarians. They're so stupid, though. Common sense says, of course.
Gobbledygook.
We fucking nailed him.
So what's 79 plus 21?
Challenge Mac.
I'm positively quivering.
I believe 96, I want to say.
857-210-501. 1/2. 3/8.
9/11, for instance.
$3,400, $1,900.
6, 5, 4, $3 trillion sold. It's a zero-sum game.
Actually, you're making me think less of it.
But let me say this. Poop.
You can call it satire. Sam goes, it's satire.
On top of it all,
Yeah.
my favorite part about you is just like every day, all day, like everything you do.
Without a doubt. Hey, buddy, we see you. All right, folks.
It's just the weak being weeded out, obviously.
Yeah, sun's out, guns out. I don't know.
But you should know.
People just don't like to entertain ideas anymore.
I have a question. Who cares?
Our chat is enabled, folks.
I love it.
I do love that.
Look, gotta jump. Gotta be quick. I gotta jump.
I'm losing it, bro.
2 o'clock. We're already late, and the guy's being a dick. So screw him. Sent to a gulag?
Outrageous.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Love you, bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.
We are back. It is still the free part of the show. Matt and I decided last show of the year. Do you want to do ASMR? We're gonna have a beer, each of us. I don't know. Are you gonna be able to work? There we go. Oh, very nice. Cheers to my buddy Matt. Love you. All right. He said, "You two off mic." I'm being schmaltzy today. It's because Sam isn't here or Brian to make fun of me. I think of in terms of you are probably the most accepting of my schmaltziness of the three. I would say, if I were to rank.
Just saying a lot.
Yeah, which is not much.
Just saying a lot about Sam and Brian. Actually.
They would just instantly mock me. Anyway.
And then start like overheating themselves.
All right, let's we'll just do this Benny Johnson thing. Oh, you want to do that first? Okay, yes, okay. So Nicki Minaj has had a real fall from grace. You know, when I was in high school, she was like the biggest female rapper out there. I mean, I remember really loving her album. She has that famous verse on Monster, the Kanye song that everybody learned. And
I never felt that way about that verse, but I will say Starships. I spent the summer of 2011, I think it was in London, and that was probably the only summer I did a lot of clubbing, and Starships was going off.
See, I didn't like those. I liked more of her, Super Bass, I guess I really enjoyed, which, did she come out to Super Bass? She did. She came out to Super Bass, which we can't play, obviously, but, like, with the widow of Charlie Kirk. Isn't this supposed to be a mournful event? Or
Charlie Kirk, who said, "I don't think she's a good role model." I don't know if you saw that. Maybe I'll pick that up.
Yeah, I did not see that. But, I mean, so basically Nicki Minaj has gone completely insane due to her relevance decreasing, and has been waging war on the internet with a bunch of different female rappers who are more popular than her at this point, Cardi B, but particularly Megan Thee Stallion, who we are fans of in this household.
Big fans.
Big fans. And she's a beauty. And she's also, I love her music. And she seems like also like a genuinely good person who was targeted by like a misogynistic hate campaign as well. So whatever, like Nicki Minaj is on the wrong side of everything. She had that tweet about being an anti-vaxxer during
Weird
COVID.
thing about her cousin's balls during COVID.
Yep.
That was actually just like, she was supportive of Andrew Cuomo in the 2018 Democratic primary, which is a very odd thing to do, in my opinion. Which suggests to me that maybe like some people in the industry are telling her, "Hey, it would be useful if you came out and did this political thing right now." Maybe that's unfair to Nicki. Maybe she's just maybe she's like the anti-Cardi B, where Cardi B has like the interest in like FDR and stuff. Maybe Nicki is just into like psychopath reactionaries.
No, maybe she's just into people that are sex pests. I mean, this is
actually,
if Andrew Cuomo is involved here, because we're gonna then this is where she's completely lost it.
Right.
She married a guy who's a registered sex offender, and since that point, she has been, and also her brother apparently also abused a child, and she was supportive of him. And so Megan Thee Stallion clapped back at her in her song Hiss. She had a line referring to Megan's Law, which is a sex offender law in California, or is it in the
I think it's California. Yeah.
California. And so then Gavin Newsom did a video that included that line. And so Nicki Minaj has been out for Gavin Newsom
Oh, it's
since
federal
that point.
actually too. Megan's
There
Law.
you go. Okay. Point being is like a guy like Russell Brand, if you have become kind of persona non grata in the entertainment industry,
Who will open their arms to you?
who will open your arms to you? Well, TPUSA will, apparently. And I don't know what happened here, but she either slipped up or said something inflammatory on
secret code.
purpose, but she calls... I don't even want to spoil it.
Yeah.
People could just watch.
I'll just say we're skipping the part where she says just sick, disgusting stuff about trans people because she's appealing to these. And I think she gets in on the Christian genocide thing too. So she's like, full mouthpiece for a bunch of dumb shit. But here she is talking about JD Vance in a way that turns out not to be greatly advised.
And you have amazing role models like the assassin JD Vance, our vice president. And when I say that,
When you say that, what?
Trust me, there's nothing new under the sun that I have not heard, so you're fine. Yes, we did.
She can't even move past it.
You have to laugh about it, truly. I have been called every single thing, and you know what? God is so good, you let it roll right off your back. And this is what's so beautiful about this moment, because if the internet wants to clip it, who cares? I love this woman. She's an amazing woman. She has a soul and a heart for the Lord.
and you have a
Let's just get this one more time. Sorry.
I'm sorry. If you want to clip this, you're on stage.
I just want it one more time.
Why did she do that?
amazing role models like the assassin JD Vance, our vice president.
What?
And when I say that,
she just figures it out after she says, and then I say that. And, she's like, oh,
and then I
crap."
say that. No, what is her explanation again? Go, just play a little bit more. And when I say that, she just stares at the crowd.
Stops. No, this is the last thing she says after 12 seconds. I'm pretty sure she doesn't say another thing.
JD Vance, our vice president. And when I say that,
Is she mentally well? No.
Trust me.
You're supposed to be a performer. Like, I know you make mistakes, but like, move on.
It's unbelievable. Why would she say the assassin?
It looks so suspicious.
Is that the conspiracy theory? Is that one of them? That JD Vance was involved?
Be now.
Yeah. What does she know?
The thing about JD Vance is that Erica is like going to replace his wife. That's the conspiracy theories about JD Vance.
Right.
But I didn't think the Cui Bono went so deep that JD was actually like involved. But maybe Candace Owens has some new information for that.
That's amazing.
And when I say that, and then she just freezes for 35 seconds.
And Erica Kirk like laughing that off. It's just like, ha.
You have to laugh.
This guy that, I know, he didn't murder my husband 3 months ago. Remember that? You have to laugh.
I've been called everything.
She didn't call you anything. She just accused the man you just endorsed for president 3 years from now of killing your husband.
So I said the most awkward thing that happened on stage was done by the most like professional performer.
Yeah. Let's do Benny Johnson while we're here. So at TPUSA, Benny Johnson has something to prove. It's been, quite public at this point that there are many, many people, not myself, I don't have firsthand experience with this, but who say that Benny Johnson is a frequenter of gay sex apps.
Milo Yiannopoulos has very clearly stated that on Tim Pool's show that Benny Johnson is gay secretly and is hiding it and has been misbehaving at conservative conferences.
There is a firsthand account of a man who made out with him, who has said this publicly and at the dressing room at some event.
And also, was it Benny's wife that said we'll sue? And don't think I've heard anything about a lawsuit.
Right. Milo taunted them and said, yeah, you want to go through Discovery? Oh, baby. And
Milo
now quiet.
posted a video of him drooling a large amount of water out of his mouth and said, this is me thinking about Discovery, the Discovery process.
So what does Benny Johnson do to prove that he's definitely not gay to this crowd of conservatives who are also the men that are in this audience?
The most masculine.
The most masculine. No, 100% straight hit rate in this room, baby.
No, that's the secret thing about these conservative events is outside, all these liberal women are just trying to get in because of like all these hunks, these conservative value hunks inside.
It's like when a shark smells blood in the water. Oh, how do I get in
can't
here
help
so I can have be
A real man.
right. I need a real man who will put me in the kitchen and then like leave in the middle of the night and come back smelling like another man's cologne.
Yeah.
So here is Benny Johnson, who, like a guy like Dave Rubin, I'm not saying that Benny's gay, but they're using a similar tactic. Throwing trans people under the bus because we're one of the good ones. He does this at TPUSA.
Charlie Kirk taken from us. Well, God is the author of life and death, obviously. It was God's will. There's nothing outside of God's will. God didn't make a mistake. Charlie is now a martyr. But who pulled the trigger? Well, let me tell you.
God.
That's somebody who knows a lot of people who've been briefed on all of this, who've seen all of the evidence, and all the available evidence is empirical and demonstrable. The person who pulled the trigger is part of the demonic transgender ideology that warps the minds of our young children, that poisons them, that is antithetical to creation itself.
That's in my algorithm for some reason.
I maketh you man and woman. God doesn't make mistakes. Transgenderism is a lie from the pit of hell. And I'm sick of seeing transgender violence and murderers in my country.
So pretty unfortunate, but that's a standing ovation from the elderly Turning Points USA crowd.
A bunch of freaks.
And what has made me so angry about this moment is that it should have been a unifying moment for us to all say, what a horrid and wretched ideology. Now it's time to kick indoors, right? Come on, FBI, do some door kicking. Round them up. The violent Antifa members, the Trantifa members.
We're busy covering up a pedophile sex cult that's way bigger than you can even imagine, Benny. Hands full a little bit.
It's time, okay? Use this as a moment. That should have been the moment, but we didn't have that moment, sadly, because there was too much tearing at the seams. It's time to focus, ladies and gentlemen, on what's truly ripping the true evils, demonic evils that are ripping this country apart. Yes, this is the ideology that took Charlie from us. And what was the last words that Charlie said on Earth? He was actually answering a question about transgender violence.
That's
God
not true.
Was sending
That's
us
not
a message.
true.
Let us heed that.
Yeah, wow. What interesting to
liar.
lie about the last words of somebody you apparently respect, which was actually, and I can remember this off the top of my head. You mean gang violence?
That was referring to gun control. That was the question, was
About
it not?
gun violence broadly speaking, and at schools. And he said, actually, we don't have a gun violence problem in America. You just mean like black kids are getting shot. And then what happened to him? And he wasn't shot by a gang member either. I'll say that.
First of all, we should say pretty terrifying to see a conservative commentator like that, regardless of his motivations and his overcompensation, get a rousing standing ovation from a crowd of devoted followers about the FBI rounding up trans people. This is not a joke. We have Marjorie Taylor Greene's bill that passed in the House. You had some Democrats sign on to it. Henry Cuellar, by the way, who Nancy Pelosi and Jim Clyburn protected from a progressive primary challenge a few years ago while he was being investigated for crimes, won that primary by less than 1,000 votes, and you can basically blame that on Nancy Pelosi and Jim Clyburn for pushing him over the edge. He voted for this bill that bans gender-affirming care for minors across the country and threatens providers with felonies if they give health care to kids that desperately need it. You have the administration basically denying the existence of trans people, and then you have this guy going a step further and basically saying that they should be rounded up. And what's next? Put them in camps? Hey, we're already building out that capacity. We've got this effort to build a homeless prison, the modern version of a debtor's prison in Utah. We spoke to somebody about that a few weeks ago. We have the building out of these private prisons due to these massive ICE contracts. Like, when does it get to that point? Because I actually think the homeless example is a little bit more apt, because this is about like institutionalizing people again in their world vision for what they deem is like, vagrancy or the kind of belief system that they would say is insane, the transgender ideology. And it's just amazing how you can, it didn't matter. They were always going to use this, always going to work backwards from their conclusion. The fact that Tyler Robinson was a white man was quite inconvenient for them.
Raised in a conservative gun culture.
And so it appears he had a sexual relationship with his trans roommate. We still don't know the facts. And the reality for Benny Johnson is that Tyler Robinson actually fits the exact profile of the vast majority of mass shooters in this country. The Violence Prevention Project has tracked this. A staggering 98% of mass shootings have been committed by men, according to the Violence Project. Men. Often straight men. Disproportionately. Straight white men, disproportionately. So if you want to look at one demographic, that's it. And that's, unlike the right, we don't make those determinations based on like bioessentialism. It's because we have a violent culture in this country. We have a mental health crisis in this country because we don't have universal health care. And we have men being increasingly alienated because they've been told that achieving generational wealth and a nuclear family is the way to be a provider and to be masculine in our society. And over the past few decades, capitalism and income inequality has made that impossible. And we've also flooded our society with weapons. So people who have no purpose and have mental health issues seek purpose through the means that our society privileges, which is violence.
Tyranny. How do you fight tyranny? If you're raised in a conservative Utah household, but then you happen to be attracted to people the government tells you you're not attracted to all of a sudden, but your entire life you've grown up going to gun shows, shooting things, internalizing the lesson that when there is a problem, a gun is the ultimate way to solve it. You're making your own enemies. The kid didn't. Everyone's talking about he went to college. He went to like a trade school.
Yep.
Right. He wasn't reading bell hooks. He had a relationship with somebody. This is taking Cash Patel at face value, which I don't do.
Yep.
But this is even by like the narrative that Benny Johnson thinks is certain enough to go on stage and get a standing ovation on. Y'all, you can't win this. Like it's not college that makes people gay or interested in trans people. It's not college that makes people trans. It's always existed. It's crazy to me, like, how people don't remember, like, before all of this got politicized, the trans stuff specifically, when Republicans were still going at gay people, that, like, trans people were just part of that.
I was watching Magnolia 2 weekends ago, and I saw, like, Felicity Huffman was in it. I remembered, when was that? She got nominated for an Oscar for Trans America. Right. That was in the Bush years.
Yeah. Exactly. The people that think it's all some sort of, like, Obama-era psyop, like the libertarian types, like I think like probably Dave Smith's like this, they're fucking more ahistorical morons that don't know anything.
And we should say that the Nazis targeted LGBTQ people, including trans people.
I'm surprised they existed back then too.
Destroying like medical. There was a trans clinic, I believe, in Germany that was targeted by the Nazis.
And
gender affirming.
People on the right will poo-poo the whole the like what do they call it, third spirit Native American mythology about like genders and saying like it turns out a lot of Native tribes. But you can go to good old-fashioned Anglican American colonialism. Yeah. There's a book, Good Wives, Nasty Wenches, I believe. I maybe look that up. But it goes into how intersex folks became an actual area of anxiety for the Virginia colonial authorities. And it turns out, people existed back then too that were not easy to define in a binary way. If you think that Adam and Eve is all the world has ever been, you're a dumb religious person. Yeah. And we've been taking people like that seriously too long. And the Matt Walsh documentary and like the glazing it got from independent sort of centrists like Matt Taibbi or whatever, like it gave you the wrong impression. You're always been full of shit. It's over now.
Matt from PA, I was gay in high school. College just gave me the courage to come out because I met confident gay people who helped me feel comfortable with myself. Exactly. But that is what they are threatened by.
Yep.
It's always there. It's just, do people have the space to become who they truly are? And colleges are areas, and cities are areas of expansion in that
Why
way.
do you think Zionist parents? Did you see that Free Press article?
No.
Where
Oh, yes.
Where
Yes.
it was like, oh, these parents
Yeah.
are upset that their very highly educated kids don't like Israel. How about listen to your fucking kids?
Well, instead of maybe talking to the press about it, I think I joked on Twitter about this, but turns out Zionists hate all kids, including their own, and want the worst for them.
You're bad parents.
Yeah.
Like this is actually the crisis. It's not about anti-Semitism. Here's the piece here. I'll put this up.
Yep. Jewish parents are shocked, confused, and upset by their children's radical politics. They wondered if they should have parented differently. Did their children get enough Jewish education? Were they brainwashed by their elite private schools? Where did they go wrong? Maybe I failed in the sense that the kids didn't go to Israel enough. A 63-year-old physician in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, told me. He said his daughter, a civil rights attorney, sounds like a piece of shit.
Hey, get in touch.
Holds anti-Zionist views and refused to vote for former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo due to his alleged sexual harassment. It would have been better if they went more just to see the lies they're being told. I don't know. I know a few people who've been to Israel that are pretty anti-Zionist now. Like Matt Lieb talks about it being radicalizing when he was ushered into a gas station and a supposed Palestinian man, seemed very set up, told him how wonderful Israel is, and he immediately smelled the BS meter. You guys, like, why do you think you can manipulate the narrative this way?
Why don't we? Again, like, this is the thing. There is this huge story waiting to be told about young Jews turning against Israel, which is a positive story.
Yep.
Good for the world.
Yep.
And we have to treat it as if it's some sort of like
tragedy,
like it's
a
a witch.
pathology.
Yeah,
Or
and-
like a social contagion. That's how they treat it. That's how these Zionists, older people treat it.
And I guess we have to wait until they like die off, because this whole piece, Jewish parents are shocked, confused. It's all just written for Jewish parents. Nobody else is gonna get anything out of it sort of article. But
Yep.
rich Jewish parents who wish their kids understood that actually we have to flatten that entire refugee camp because Israel got attacked.
I mean, it's psycho. Like, my mother has a longtime friend that, because of my commentary, will never speak to her ever again. Been friends for 30 years.
But that's really like all this stuff about Bill Maher talking about don't cancel over Thanksgiving. It's the right wingers.
Yep.
It's the right wingers who become the problem. Everyone else gets along.
Yep.
But it's the people who get on with like, how dare you criticize Israel? You must be secretly anti-Semitic, or I mean, whatever. It's hard to. Trump is so low right now. It's hard to even remember what my Trumper family members were on about now. Like, I haven't been home this year. But back in the day, it was like them that was the problem. Like, you have such an issue with me not having an issue with Kaepernick that it's gonna create an atmosphere.
Yeah.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Right. Not that Aaron says, thankfully my mom loves me more than Israel, so our relationship is intact. But that's not the case for a lot of young Jews in
their parents should do
the
better.
world. Yep.
That's who needs to do better.
Yep.
It's not the young Jews, it's their parents.
Not that Aaron says, as a Jewish 26-year-old that went to Jewish day school for 8 years, the brainwashing is copious on the Zionist side, and the more times I went to Israel, the more anti-Zionist I became. Cole from Cincinnati, also remember Public Universal friend from colonial America. Not sure what you mean by that. Senate Twink, also most trans women will tell you the line between love and violence from men is razor thin. This might be a good opportunity for me to talk about heated rivalry. I know that can't get away with this with Sam. And Matt, I know you haven't seen this show, but I just want to talk about it as a phenomenon because I'm obsessed with it. The finale's coming up, And I didn't. My friend pitched me on it, and now so many of my friends are watching this, and I was like, okay, this is like a like a smutty show, right? And that's what I'd heard about it, and it is that, particularly at the beginning. But I can't. The phenomenon of this is just, I feel like, a little bit political too. And it's not just because that character Kip kind of looks like Charlie Kirk. He's very handsome. He's very handsome, but like a more handsome version of Charlie Kirk. It's just that like this show, it feels like wokeness is back a little bit with this show. And I think the reason that so many women and queer people are drawn to this is because like I've never seen a show like this that shows male like sensuality and comfort and love, and that isn't, well, one, a lot of gay shows that involve gay romance, like, or movies, they'll end in like tragedy. I mean, Brokeback Mountain is very, very infamously so, but and that I think is like reflective of history. But to have this more positive show where there's there is sensuality, but there's like a lack of a misogynistic gaze, and there's no undertone of violence that sometimes I feel like shows that involve like women being sexual in them have. And it's like this just very, I don't know, safe space from this like really toxic kind of violent masculine culture that we're all a part of right now. I think that's why it's getting so much traction. And like it has this yearning quality too. Like the best romances of the 21st century, in my view, movies. Just indulge me for a second. Like romance movies are like Carol, it's amazing. Call Me by Your Name, Moonlight. Those are the ones that come to mind, and they're all like queer romances. They have this like yearning element involved in it, and that's I think what makes people love this show so much. But it's just like there's something so intoxicating and romantic about this very, like, it's in a sport, right? And it's a sport that I love. Having like these men show such tenderness to one another, it's like it makes me feel safe when I watch it. I'm getting red talking about it, but it is my safe space, and I think it's a lot of people's safe space right now. If you're not a straight man, if you're watching this show, just because like, you know, right now our culture is very violent, and we have a rapist as president, for example. And so, I don't know. I'm just obsessed with it. I do want to laugh a little bit about some of the hockey elements of it, because like the two main guys they had to make them the first overall and second overall picks that are in love with each other on rival teams. And they both win, like both are captains, both win this equivalent of the Stanley Cup. It's like, all right, could we not get like a third liner here to make it more realistic? And then the third gay guy is also like the captain of the New York Rangers. It's just, I just love the anyway, the element of it being fantastical in that way. So that's me talking about heated rivalry. I'm very excited for the finale.
People are asking, yeah, that's the show's heated rivalry.
Yes. How bizarre by OMC says, please warn your friends about the dangers of hockey culture. Vox Populi, I love you bringing up heated rivalry. It's so good. It is so good. I literally will like be walking around and start getting teary thinking about their romance. It's so unbelievable.
I mean, I told you.
Oh yeah, sorry. I think some straight men will watch this and think like, oh, it's fetishizing because women want to see, straight women want to see these men hooking up, these beautiful men. But it's actually, I mean, there's a lot of like lesbians that are into it too, and because it is like a safe show that I hadn't been able to articulate it before, but it's outside of like a misogynistic male gaze, and that's like revelatory in many ways. So all right, I'm done talking about heated rivalry.
I mean, I don't understand it. I probably won't check it out, but okay.
It's fine.
But it reminds me of I was hearing on a podcast a woman talk about how she and her friends are into F1, which I never understood. Like I'm not into, I've never into NASCAR, never into any kind of racing really. But it's all for that sort of similar reason, which is like men women enjoying being voyeurs into male relationships.
Yes.
And interesting. That's interesting.
And this show is so tender too, where it's like, I think we're just starved for healthy, tender masculinity, and that's what showing.
We don't know the rules.
It feels so refreshing, and so the finale comes out I think the day after Christmas, but on Christmas 11:59, the midnight going into the 26th, and I'm gonna have to find a way to leave my family or wake up to watch it at midnight. Anyway, so thanks for indulging me. You want to get back to politics?
To a Zionist.
Okay, maybe I'll read some IMs and just calm down a little bit, and then we'll get back to it. Dan the man, I think Schitt's Creek did the same thing for me during quarantine. It was a town with no racism or homophobia. Funny, both Canadian shows. Haha. It is also the Canadian quality of it too. And the actors are they not nepo babies, came out of nowhere. The guy was working as a waiter, almost getting fired. They're that's what's also fun. New, fresh, talent in the
fresh meat.
And the nepo baby thing's overrated. There's plenty of talented people like that, but I just mean it is cool to see fresh new faces come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Henry Gold, another great show with queer gay romance, is the FX show Adults. Paul Baker's A King Amongst Men. Yes. Eric from Montana, romantic love is a modern myth. The world has always been violent. Stop watching and reading nonsense. Kay, love you. How dare you, Eric? Dave from Jamaica, woke 2.0, a little meaner, but the right amount. Yep. Noel from San Francisco, had to Google it, but public universal friend claimed to have died and be reanimated as a genderless evangelist since 1776. Interesting. Alex, I am another one of those kids who became anti-Zionist after going to Israel on a birthright trip in 2017. There you go. Ramona Frankenstein, Benny Johnson yelling about trans people is so effing cringe. Nobody gives a shit about what this bottom has to say about anything. I love
Panties.
that we assume he's a bottom. What was that?
Panties.
God. I would not. I feel like he does have bottom energy, if I may say so myself, just because I'm an ally and I love heated rivalry.
Now you can do your classification.
Dizzle McFizzle. Nikki is a non-citizen married to a sex offender, and her brother is a pedophile. Wow. Yeah. Rough.
Let's hear what they have to say about trans people. I mean, it's crazy how that is. Trans people are they just eat all the shit from all the worst people in the entire world, trying to point to a different direction.
Yep. Fabulash. My boss used to own family-owned sweater factories in Brooklyn. During the 90s, the jobs were exported. He recently had a friend ask if he wanted to rebuild factories in the U.S., and he said absolutely not. As someone who did everything right by our government, you will always get screwed over. The manufacturing jobs are not coming back. He is retiring next year.
I mean, Steve Jobs also said that to Obama. It was a huge a huge quote that loomed over Obama's entire administration when he said that those jobs aren't coming back. And the truth is, why are we listening to a fucking capitalist to determine what our economic agenda is? The idea that Steve Jobs, who couldn't even keep himself alive because he had quack medical advice, knew anything about the wider economy. He knew how to make a good fucking phone.
Yep.
And that was it. And yet we treated him like an oracle. And guess what? It turns out government policy had some stimulative effect towards manufacturing. It's all been destroyed now because of Trump. But we can do this if we wanted to. It's just, do people like Steve Jobs and all the rich people, are they going to have to pony up with all the money that they've made from destroying our capacity?
Yep. Ryan from Santa Monica. I studied journalism. I was an editor of my college newspaper. You give targets of an investigation the chance to comment, but their refusal, if anything, makes publishing more important. Yeah. Graham Page. Why didn't Barry ask for comment from Tyler Robinson for the Erica Kirk town hall? Epstein files in your stocking. I'm so torn. I want the truth to come out, but some of these stories are just awful. Well, the victims want them out, right? So
yeah, no, that is a thing I think people do have to calibrate. And I saw, I think Caroline Kwan that tweeted about this, the memification of this, people, we're talking about preteen and 14-year-old girls.
Yep.
Like, this is a monstrosity that is being sort of forced into the open. It's not just embarrassing photos of people you don't like and want to see embarrassed. They did horrible things. There are massive amounts of victims, and violence in terms of like keeping this covered up.
Bubba the Horse. I doubt Cesar Sayoc would be capable of hurting Epstein. He seems like a kind of loser, but he might be a good stooge to take the blame if something happened to Epstein, which is a plausible theory.
That's a very good theory.
Yeah.
Although the question would have been, like it probably should be for Jack Ruby, like, why is a person with that biography there at that moment?
100%. Rural Lefty. Emma, thank you so much for this TV culture talk. Another Canadian hockey show suggestion is Shore Say, based on the character from the popular show Letterkenny. All right. Emma's distant cousin. I guess I'm the only one who has my assistant pick up my underwear from the dry cleaners on the way to get $10 bananas. Chadlander. I don't know if this I Am Bracer safe space or helps it, but Russell Brand just got charged with rape and sexual assault.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Science is political. Emma, that recap wasn't long enough. I need more details. Well, I can't. I don't know if I can keep talking about it with no other input from Matt or anything. So like I just had to wrap it up.
I was trying to find Trump saying panties.
What should we get to here?
Let's do Dr. Casey Babb.
Okay. Matt, explain to me who Dr. Casey Babb is.
Canadian Zionist who had something to say about the Free Press here about Zohran Mamdani, and you'll see why I knew this was going to upset us.
Okay, all right. I won't even look at the tweet. This is a cold Matt clip I haven't seen yet or even read about, and he says it's going to make me mad. So great.
We're sitting here in New York. You have a relatively young man who's set to be mayor, who could not bring himself to condemn Hamas. Hamas killed my friend's cousin. Hamas killed 8 Canadians. Hamas killed the equivalent of somewhere in the range of 50,000 Americans. That's a death cult.
All right, I don't mean to be a jerk.
Let's see this part here.
My Palestinians
my friend's cousin.
Israel killed my entire family and my friend's entire family and then my other friend's entire family.
That's the thing I think that I want to zero in on about Dr. Casey Babb is I think he values a human life not all the same.
No, a Zionist?
So his friend's friend or whatever, and listen to the little equation he comes up with here.
Hamas killed 8 Canadians. Hamas killed the equivalent of somewhere in the range of 50,000 Americans. That's a death cult.
You get that? They killed somewhere in the range, the equivalent of somewhere in the range of 50,000 Americans. Do you even know what he's trying to say there?
No.
He's doing that thing that they did at the beginning after October 7th.
Oh, multiplying it by population size.
Exactly. I don't quite understand how he arrives at 50,000 based on that. But like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Okay. I say you because I consider him a Zionist.
Yeah.
Zionists killed way more than that in Palestine, and that's not the equivalent in raw numbers.
And first of all, I'm looking this guy up. This is one of his quotes from recent. Zionism is not conquest. It's the greatest indigenous success story in human history.
Yes, I saw this one too, actually. Em and I had the same impulses to go to this guy's Twitter account and then find dumb stuff he said. This is a funny one that I saw. Starting a war and then losing it isn't genocide.
Okay.
Which doesn't even make sense.
Yes.
Because like he's basically saying Hamas is not guilty of genocide
right.
based on his terms. Of course, we would say like the sort of war conditions sort of go maybe when the start of people being occupied. I don't know.
Right. He's admitting that Hamas didn't start said war on October 7th by accident. What a dummy.
You're either admitting that Israel started the war or that Hamas
Failed at
started it,
genocide.
but isn't doing genocide.
Yeah. Then who is doing genocide? Begs the question.
And this is the sort of thing, like, this is the best that Zionism can produce. Barry Weiss and guys like this, who I will say full-throatedly, charlatan. A charlatan who, the world should close their ears to people like this. When there are horrible incidents that are the result of hate, like what happened in Australia, we should all take very seriously the words of people who are genuinely opposed to hate and violence. And that excludes every single supporter of Israel that has continued their support, especially through these past few years. We should close our ears to them entirely. They have nothing to offer.
You're not on, just so you know. But yeah.
Oh, on camera, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. But if we were to do, so we had Anthony Aguilar on, who said, again, he's not a doctor, or we don't have the ability to estimate the death toll right now, or to know the true death toll. But anybody who I take seriously on this topic, hundreds of thousands, okay? Hundreds of thousands, because the bodies that we have, that we can count, the people who are dead, they were either treated in a hospital, or they were not categorized as excess deaths, as Dr. Tarek Loubani described to us, meaning dying of starvation. There are just thousands and thousands of people under the rubble who, when they're just crushed to death, people can't dig them out. They don't have the ability to bring them to a hospital because, like, what's the point? You just killed my entire family. They're not being classified in the death toll, and there's hundreds of thousands of people considered missing that are just presumed dead because they couldn't even leave Gaza because Israel controls the entire border, land and sea, and then, Egypt was participating in it as well. So those people are just dead. So if you were to take the 500,000 person estimate that Aguilar gave to us and apply it to the U.S. population, that would be 85 million people.
And you know what? Normal people don't need to do that equation.
Right.
Normal people don't need to see, like, oh, you know what? It's that many 9/11s or whatever. Normal people see death and say, let's try to minimize that.
Yep.
And so let's let him play a little bit more.
All right,
His cousin. Hamas killed 8 Canadians. Hamas killed the equivalent of somewhere in the range of 50,000 Americans. That's a death cult. And so when you have an individual like that, or heads of universities, or heads of unions, or heads of hospitals, who have lost the ability to come out with any sort of sense of moral courage or common sense.
The opposite has happened.
You don't just signal to the most dangerous people among us and abroad that this is sort of okay. It's as though you hold the door open for them and you say, come in, kill us, come in, my friend.
Insane.
And it's astounding. And that, to me, is among the most dangerous things that you could ever have imagined.
Yeah.
It's one thing for a terrorist attack to happen. It's another thing to just leave it at thoughts and prayers.
Oh my God. You know what? The Zionists, they do this with LGBTQ, like, and inclusive rhetoric in the U.S. because they know they've got, like, the right-wing forces on their side. So they throw out this, like, deeply racist view of Palestinians where they basically say, like, we're gonna say that these uncivilized folks are not a part of our, like, liberal coastal values. Like, if you talk to wealthy like democratic Zionists, for example, if they're still Zionists, they're pretty right-wing economically, but they'll say things like, I support gay people and I support gun control. I mean, I've literally had these conversations. And those are, I guess, the ways that another right-wing Zionist gets them on their side. Nothing about, like, anything structural, colonialism, capitalism, etc., because the people that are going to be more swayed by those kinds of things in absence of changing the way our government is structured are the target audience, wealthy coastal center-right Zionists that may be voting Democrat, but maybe not anymore.
Yeah. Put it on my lawyer hat. Objectively, on October 7th, Hamas committed war crimes, taking civilian hostages. That's against international law. History cap on. People understand that October 7th was provoked by Israel's own long-standing pattern of war crimes and conquest. And anybody who is... And when he talks about keeping the door open. For the rest of my career in media, I will be working to close the door on people like this that don't want people to understand something like October 7th as anything other than savage terrorism. And the people that want you to think that are racists that are doing are undergoing a terrorist project of their own. And it's continuing in the West Bank. Does Casey have anything to say about that? I'd be very curious. But what he feels like emphasizing is that Zohran Mamdani is opening the door to terrorists. I don't appreciate anyone, even Americans, talking that way about somebody that I put in as mayor or somebody that our unions put in to lead unions. I don't appreciate somebody saying you are opening the door to terrorism. Because actually, I want to make that allegation against this, that people like Casey have opened the door and covered all of our fucking hands in blood because of how we approached what happened on October 7th, because we failed utterly to put it into any kind of historical context. Why does this happen? Why is there a refugee camp that is decades and decades and decades old? Why is there something called the occupied territories that we just let Israel rule over? And like it distribute military justice over for fucking ever. It's because of people like this. Because we've said, in order to be fair, we need to keep the door open for fucking charlatans that say shit like the equivalent of 50,000 Americans die. Get fucked.
Yeah. Well, again, and there's no, the equivalents that I just talked about, 50,000 to 86 million. You want to do raw numbers? They don't see Palestinians as human beings.
No.
They don't. They don't. And they are no different. That guy is no different than Richard Spencer, than Nick Fuentes, than David Duke. No difference.
Holocaust deniers, all of them.
All of them. And I saw Ryan Grimm shared this piece, and I guess it was a month old or so, but I really recommend people read it because it was quite cathartic for me. I just want to read from the last few paragraphs of it. Bruno Macayes, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, wrote it on his Substack. It's called Gaza: The Reckoning. But just speaking about the defenders of Israel at this point. My sense that something deeper is at play first arose in the first debates on Gaza that I accepted to join. Often I would get distracted contemplating the people in front of me. They seemed like children, people thirsting for authority. They needed only an implausible story to believe when they were told to believe what they were told about Israel. It seemed that the most absurd the story, the better for them. The story could even change, and it did. Israel would never bomb a hospital. Or maybe it would if it had some tunnels underneath. Or maybe no tunnels were needed, just the presence of some presumed Hamas fighter or a camera, even if it was a Reuters camera. By the end, Israel had destroyed every single hospital in Gaza. Those people were also singularly devoid of empathy. Worse, it seemed that they prized cruelty as a kind of status signifier. To enjoy cruelty was a sign of belonging to the strong, the winners, while sympathizing with the children in Gaza just indicated, as Trump likes to say, that there might be something Palestinian about you. They are people obsessed with their careers, their professional success, but they are also obsessed with having their opinions coincide with the social consensus. I sent this, Matt, if you want to put it up. I'm reading a good amount of it. In pursuit of these goals, they accept no moral restraints of any kind. Their psychology is the psychology of the mob, willing to do anything provided their leaders assure them they are good little boys and girls. Those defending Israel have no courage, no curiosity, no sense of duty, no character. They are far from adults or fully formed individuals, and they are infinitely proud of that. Their personality leaves no room for intellect or superego. I noticed the pattern where, like the television star Van Jones, they laughed happily when talking about dead children in Gaza.
The infantilization there, that they're not full adults, is evidenced by the fact of the fixation that they have on Jewish day school. Did something fail there? Did we not teach them enough about how we need to support Israel there? Or all of the focus that people like Bill Ackman have done to college campuses.
Yep. If there is a collapse in Western societies, it is not merely a collapse of media or political structures. It is much worse. It may well be a collapse of the human personality. Human beings do not emerge fully formed from the earth. Always and everywhere, they are social creations, but what our societies are creating no longer seem like human beings. Often during the last 2 years, I felt that to point out the facts were to miss the point. I felt like someone in a movie theater who insists on noting the physical impossibilities in some science fiction movie, while everyone simply wants to enjoy the thrills, all the thrills of violence and cruelty. Gaza has become our Westworld, the place where hidden fantasies of violence and cruelty are given free rein. What are these personalities? Who are these monsters we seem to have created all around us? People so ready to use other human beings as objects for their most primal and animal desires, having previously transformed them into video game characters. What has gone wrong in our societies that we no longer seem able to create or raise human beings? That is the most important question we can ask in the world we now inhabit, the world after Gaza. Yeah. That's what that guy made me think of. A complete lack of humanity.
I mean, and you've seen this the entire time since October 7th, is who is actually able to represent the Israeli side. And they've gone through so many spokespeople, and they've all been fucking jokes. It's like Alan Dershowitz is still given like a prime speaker spot when it comes to like, if we're doing a debate in support of Israel. It's nasty, nasty people. And so like all this stuff about the polls and who polls well and what does a poll say, when it actually comes to somebody putting their face to this, and it turns out that a lot of people can't do it. That maybe like when you see like, especially like older Jews that are polled on Israel, like they might have some feeling based on propaganda, but what is actually getting there to make that case? It's people like Alan Dershowitz. It's people like Benny Morris, who just basically accepts like, you know what? Sometimes you got to do ethnic cleansing. Sometimes you just have to. But a lot of people don't want to just say that, which is good because it says that there's at least some humanity left. I mean, Israelis, I think at this point have been so inculcated with this that maybe they wouldn't. But most people in America find that objectionable. So like, who is it? Like, it has to be people like Dana Bash and Jake Tapper who act like they're like objective, or like Jake Sullivan or Anthony Blinken. Oh, it's a really tough thing, and God, that Netanyahu, Rami Emanuel. Oh, that Netanyahu. Everything would be so good if it wasn't for Netanyahu.
Oh, he said that on Pod Save America. Isn't it amazing? He still thinks he can run for freaking president, but even he is taking the anti-Netanyahu line. That will be for everybody looking forward, the centrist line going forward, and that will be wildly insufficient.
And you know what? Unfortunately for Ram, Israel can't be your partner in this, buddy, because you're trying to go on Pod Save America saying Israel would be so great because it has no threats around it. Jordan, all these allies ready to make deals, but Netanyahu is stamping on it. They can't. Israel must, at all times, project itself as under existential threat. If not, the whole project doesn't make a lick of fucking sense. It doesn't make any sense that we give them all these weapons. It doesn't make any sense that we look the other way, that they're used for war crimes. None of this makes any sense. That Americans' communities are being hollowed out as we give billions and billions, even like a quarter, fifth of $1 trillion to Israel since 1948. And maybe people should start thinking like, what would have happened if that was reinvested in America?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I think it's the most salient political argument that you could possibly make, and where you and I know are in full agreement about. Like, we can make the wonky case for modern monetary theory, but the way that we make this politically salient is, why are your tax dollars going to this, and you can't afford childcare? You can't afford healthcare. We can do this.
Can't afford housing.
And you can make this.
But 19 more settlements on stolen land.
Right. But how do you, and you can connect that to the anti-billionaire argument too. Claw the wealth back and reinvest it. It doesn't need to mean that that's exactly how our government functions. I get it. I understand that that the idea of like treating the government like a business or whatever, it's a false, and there isn't that scarcity. That it's a false notion. But politically, it's the right way to message on this.
Who's the anti-Zionist billionaire? Name one.
I know, right? Maybe we won't have time for calls, actually. We want to run through some clips, too, because we won't be around for a little while. While we're on the depressing stuff, I did want to do this ICE raid that I came across. So ICE, was in September, and this segment came out in November, so definitely a little bit behind on this, but we have to highlight these horrible raids. This is, I think, one of the biggest in New York that occurred on September 4th. This segment from Syracuse.com aired around a month ago, but I saw clips recirculating today on Twitter about this, and here you will see federal agents going into this nutrition bar plant and breaking into the woman's bathroom, and there's a woman using the toilet, and you'll see some of this body cam footage, how these thugs are operating in just places where they're trying to make nutrition bars. These are workers making just products and trying to go about their daily lives. Here is some of that footage from Syracuse.com.
Agents stopped production, yelled at people in bathroom stalls, and ordered most of the workers to line up in a hot break room.
Open the door. Abra la puerta.
It's a foot. It's resistance.
Yeah.
Hang it. Got it?
Resistance.
Abra la puerta ahora.
Tell them to back up.
Necesitas muevas. Vamos a abrir la puerta. Con fuerte.
He's in there. I got it. Ready?
Yep.
Get down! Get down! Get on the ground! Females.
Siéntese ahora. Siéntese. No te muevas.
Miss, pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom. Pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom. Pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom.
Necesitas poner tus pantalones. She's asking to wait since she's moving pants up.
Okay, please hurry.
Okay. Señoritas, come.
How much we paying these pigs to stomp around women's bathrooms?
Females. You can tell in their voice, like they're not even using police parlance.
No, these guys couldn't go after an actual scary person.
Right. They think of themselves as Liam Neeson. They're like fucking Mr. Bean.
Wearing their fucking masks. And
I know.
How much are we paying for? How many guys are there? What are they making? Like,
I don't know.
$300 a day to go stomp around women's bathrooms?
Aren't we worried about trans people and trans women in women's restrooms? I thought that was the real threat. Turns out, like,
ICE agents,
masked ICE agents kidnapping people. There have been reports of sexual abuse. There have been dozens of people who have died in ICE custody. One of the most underreported stories in the country. They're killing them. Let alone denying pregnant women care and all of this other stuff. I mean, like, there is going to be mass abuse that we hear about of women and girls by these freaks. Guarantee it. The glee that they have of going into the women's bathroom right here. I mean, you see how violence and sexual violence are the exact same.
There is a limited number of resources that the government has to go after, let's broadly call bad guys. I would not personally stretch those resources to go after women making nutrition bars. When there is actually a huge human trafficking, sex crimes, stuff going on, all that stuff not being looked into now, because they pulled FBI agents off of it to go, I guess, investigate whether granola bars are being made by an illegal person or not undocumented person. The answer to this is make those people citizens, allow them to continue contributing to the fucking community, without the threat that they're undocumented, that has always been there, that have kept them in their place. But people want to put them in their place. That's what's happening now.
Watch a little more of this.
They asked each person, one by one, whether they were U.S. citizens.
You good? Yeah. Okay. I was just getting a little
Hot as shit.
Holy shit!
Shouldn't you know who's a citizen and who's not if you're stomping into fucking bathrooms, you pig?
Hope he's having a good time. It's all this shit in here in this like horrible workplace where people are paid minimum wage at best. Let's round them up and incarcerate them.
Okay, so those are being checked. The citizens. Okay.
There's nothing. Everything in there is not U.S. citizens.
This is Nazi shit, guys.
Let's go. The quicker we do this, the quicker we get through it, right? Come to this side. Come up in the front, to the side. No, you're not going in your locker. No. And I'll take the pen. I'll take it. Thank you.
The way they talk to these people. No, you're not going in your
That side.
locker.
All the way.
You have your papers?
It's important that everybody make sure that you show up for jury duty if you're so summoned, so that in case you get a case that involved any sort of person resisting these fascist pigs in American Uncle Sam paid for uniforms, that you say no charges, absolutely nothing, let them walk. Anybody who's resisting this, in my opinion, is a hero. And the idea, like, and all this bullshit about we're going after these criminals. No, you're not. You're not. You're sending these fat fucking schmucks that, you know, their wives are probably glad they're out of the house. That's probably the one good thing that's happening here. They get a little break from domestic violence. And you're sending them to go bully people, go bully women who work in a factory. Could not be more disgusting.
Wyoming Ryan, any repercussions for the granola business having undocumented women on their staff? I don't understand how it's okay for one, but not the other. You might recall in
Welcome
Florida.
to the machine.
In Florida, do you remember that revolt from some of the business owners when there was an attempt to do something where they would crack down on businesses if they hired undocumented workers, and they like flipped out at the DeSantis administration because that's the whole point.
Yeah, Donald Trump did it himself.
Their business model relies on treating their workers like garbage, and the easiest people to treat like garbage are people who are don't have full citizenship rights, and that they know that the Trump administration, or really the Biden administration even, they can threaten to deport that person. The Scary Mountain Wizard, this stuff makes me so mad. Well, same. I can't promise that I won't go to federal prison if these clowns come into my workplace and take my coworkers. Well,
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't. No.
But people should
Document
organize
everything.
in a large, like. The one thing about One Battle After Another is it really does.
I was
show a
just
really
thinking
good,
about it too. Yeah.
Yeah, like obviously, like individualized acts of like violence are horrible and are actually gonna give Trump and those folks what they want. People being smart about organized and embedding in the community and organizing alongside others is what needs to happen.
I hope people have seen it by now, but that's one of the main messages of that film, contrasting like more a form of activism that like is revolutionary but misguided and perhaps like driven by ego. Righteous anger but ego, versus a network of solidarity, emphasized by the Benicio del Toro character that I thought the politics of that film were phenomenal.
I mean, it's Fred Hampton when he's talking about the Weather Underground and saying we don't put people into situations where they're going to get mowed down by the pigs.
Yep.
And people that do are acting like Custer, which for a 21-year-old I thought was a great historical reference.
Teacher Dan, holy shit, where are Obama, Clinton's, Pelosi, the supposed opposition icons?
They're trying to get you to tamp down and talk about Medicare for all for the primaries.
Yeah. Anonymous. Thomas Jefferson once said, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed with the blood of patriots and tyrants." There's going to be a lot of refreshed trees at the end of 2026 and 2028. Metaphorical blood, yes. BRB forever. I'm running behind on the feed, so maybe you've already mentioned it, but if not, Emma had a great conversation with John Marcos Cerisi and Russell Daniels that was released on YouTube this morning. I did not mention it, so thank you for promoting that for me. Cowardly Lion, thank you guys for an incredible year. I have been listening to you guys for a few years now and have been a member since the beginning of the year. You have always brightened my mornings. I'm on the West Coast and keep me informed through these times. Love you guys. Stay safe. Happy holidays. And left is best. Thank you to the West Coast Cowardly Lion for that. Got real estate. Emma, I am not sure if I missed it, but can you repeat when MR is back live? As this is the last show of the year, I also want to take a moment to thank you, Sam, and the entire MR crew for another super great year. The show is essential to maintaining my sanity. Left is best. I thought you were joking because I feel like Sam mentioned the timeline of our shows 40 times, but or that this was the last live show. But I think we still don't have full clarity. I think probably Sam and I might do a stream together, an Ask Me Anything on the 2nd. But if not, we'll be back live on the 5th. SYM, this painting of all Palestinians as uniformly homophobic is sickening, but also just incorrect. Yep.
That's a sign of. It's just imperial propaganda.
Luke from New Mexico. Emma, my wife is inviting you to her heated rivalry-themed birthday party this weekend. I know it's a little last minute and it's in New Mexico, but I'm sure you can make it. It sounds amazing, but I will have to be celebrating Christmas, unfortunately, instead of watching.
If not for Christmas,
the heated rivalry, or listening to the interviews of the actors. Anyway, Spifflow. Thank you, Emma, for saying we have a mental health crisis in this country because we don't have universal health care. You are framing the issue in a light that reveals its true causes and does not deflect from the seriousness of the gun violence we face every day. Thank you for keeping it real and keeping all of us mostly sane. Appreciate you. Max Vax, let me call in so I can talk to Matt about computer hardware for 10 minutes. We're gonna read some IMs and then we'll be out of here.
I'm gonna have a new PC by next time you hear me.
Whoa. Nayib Bukele. I watched Brokeback Mountain for the first time shortly after Trump was sworn in this year, and I really thought you can't make movies like this anymore just to be immediately proven wrong. I forgot how art tends to flourish under conservative administrations. Brokeback also came out under Bush. That's true.
Thank you, Nayib Bukele.
Yes. Woke Nayib Bukele. Henry Gold, another great show with. I already read that one. Lawn Chair Media, kind of an aside but related, but I've been reading a lot about testosterone and doctors that run a fitness website, Barbell Medicine, discussing how the trend of lower testosterone levels in men is misleading. It was measured inaccurately in the past and was also distorted by smoking, which artificially inflates levels. Plus, in sports, muscle mass is more important than T levels, which is why men are usually stronger than women. There's Olympic lifters that get tested, and some have unusually low levels but are immensely strong. Some women have unusually high levels, too. Exactly! Exactly!
I'm glad I didn't destroy my body's ability to produce testosterone by starting my own regimen before hearing that.
Yeah. Tom Cotton's Bloodlust. These TPUSA people don't believe a word out of their own mouths. No wonder they're endorsing the entirely principleless Jorkanthan Dinkle Vance.
Look at Cash Patel and Dan Bongino.
Yeah. All right, 5 more. Trilly Flops. I love that this is taking Nikki down, but it's sad to me that it's taken people so long to wake up to how bad of a person she is. For years, she verbally harassed her husband and brother's victims, both of which are convicted child molesters. She's been able to hide this well, but with her pivot to the right, she can finally be with the people she shares morals with.
Big 10 over there.
Portnoy's HR complaint says Emma drinking Miller through a straw is wild. You guys are getting a lot of respect in Twitch chat, poggers. It's better for lipstick. It's drinking from a can while I'm wearing lipstick from a can while wearing lipstick is not fun. Not that Aaron. I already read that. Shoot. Nassau County spokesperson, shout out to some Long Island progressives running for Congress. Lucas Venturas in New York 01 and Garrett Peterson, New York 2. Let's get some good candidates in 3 and 4. That's very encouraging. NYC driver, my fiance is Canadian. My crazy gun theory is that kids in Canada learn more love because of year-long maternity and 6-month paternity. They have somewhat similar percentage of gun ownership on the community level, but drastically different outcomes. Of course, they also have a semi-auto ban. They also have universal, or they have a national health service.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is like people mention, I saw the anti-vaxxer being like, look at this Scandinavian country that doesn't vaccinate as aggressively. It's like they have national health care.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot.
A Run with a View says, if you go see one picture of Gaza, normal people know what the fuck is going on. These people are so delusional, it's mind-blowing. Daniela, as a teacher, my gender dysphoria was ignored by doctors, but then my atypical puberty was grounds for trying to bully me into having breast reduction at 14. But the guardians of pedophiles say they're transing kids, so what can you really believe? 3 more. Joe Snuffy, when my brigade got briefed on how to use the new Gen AI tools Hegseth is trying to force upon us, we were told that it could at most produce a 30% solution, and that we were expected to both use it and to correct mistakes it makes. I think you mean what mistakes it makes. But we had to make a note in any documents we produce which use any AI toolkit that they were made by AI. These tools are like an incompetent nepotistic coworker that we're forced to cover because they're the owner's grandkid.
100%. I've been experimenting a little bit with the language model, and I put some old series of novels into it, and asked for connections, either explicit or implicit, or between the lines, between the novels and characters. And some of them were obvious that I knew and was aware of. I'm like, oh yeah, I recognize that character appearing there. And I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even know that character was in that book. And I went to check, and it completely made it up.
Yeah. California Resistance, Matt, great point on jury duty. I got called one a year in the Coachella Valley, California. I'm sure there will be many cases here. Will do my duty. And the final I am of the year. Floridians for Emma. Just wanted to say thanks to the whole MR crew for always making my work weeks better. I'm a baker with a political science degree, and staying sane between the holidays and the shit show of politics right now has been hard, but MR helps a lot. Left is best. Love you guys. Happy holidays. Very sweet. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much for the great year, as I mentioned earlier. It's been a good one, folks. I mean, it's been a tough year politically in many ways, but
I mean, I guess I'd have to call it an improvement on 2024. 2024 sucked.
Yeah.
At least, like, I don't know. I mean, look, both of them are trash.
I mean,
it hasn't really been a good year for about 1,000 years.
Right. It's always darkest before the dawn, folks. All right, we will see you in 2025. Bye-bye. Oh, shoot. We will see you in 2026. Try that again.
It might take all the strength I got to get to where I want, but I know somehow I'm gonna get there. I wasn't looking when I just got caught between the truth and the lie bar. But finding out won't make me feel any better. Yeah, I know the clock is ticking, but the meds are gonna kick in, and my pilot light shining bright. I get somewhere the choice is made, for the option where you don't get